young folk go, I like your version too, my brother.
I love you, Cornel.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you, man. Well, see, Nina, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I mean. But that's fine with me. Yes, indeed. That brother put that song on the map, so it's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've written. Go ahead, Nina. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nina. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
On Soul Train, yeah. Yeah, on Soul Train, yeah. Well, Nina, I grew up with Aretha. I've been knowing Aretha since I was 8 years old. She was at before Aretha passed. She was my longest friend that I had because all of our other friends in our neighborhood that we grew up in had passed on. So before Aretha passed, she was my longest friend that I had, and so I loved her very much, and we were very close. So anything I could do with her or about her or around her and everything, I was always willing to do that. Now, since Aretha passed, Diana Ross is my longest friend who's still alive. Yeah, we all grew up in the same neighborhood.
A few times in our conversation today, Smokey, you've made reference to your bandmates, in the Miracles.
Yes.
You mentioned Aretha. Now you've mentioned others. We were talking earlier about how blessed we are that you and the chairman are still with us.
Yes.
Barry just had Barry Gordy had his 95th birthday,
95th birthday,
a couple weeks ago. But since you made reference to it a few times now, how are you navigating this process of becoming more, as I said earlier, chronologically gifted, but losing so many of your friends and colleagues? How are you navigating that?
Well, Tavis, it's rough. It's really rough. I think about it all the time because when I go back to Detroit and I go like to the museum, which is there, and there are pictures, historical documents and things like that, and I look at the pictures, and 90% of the people are gone. When you're growing up with people like that, especially, and my neighborhood friends, like Aretha and people like that, you never, the last thing you expect is to see them dead.
Yeah.
You don't, because you're just living life and you're not thinking about the aftermath. So, but yeah, it's really rough. I just, day before yesterday, Sam Moore, who was a friend of mine,
Sam and Dave, yeah,
passed.
I saw that, yeah.
It's happening, man.
Yeah.
And I have to look at it at this point in my life that is that time of life for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because my friends are, up in age, and so they're going on, and a lot of young people are passing. Man, it's really rough. I think about the guys that I idolized as a kid growing up, and some of them I got a chance to meet. Most of them, in fact, I got a chance to even be friends with them. But I think about Jackie Wilson, who was my number one singing idol, and Jackie Wilson passed when he was 43 years old. I think about Sam Cooke, who was another one of my good friends. Sam passed when he was 32, man. That's they're kids, like, compared to speaking to life. And to see these people, passing like this. But like I said, it's the ultimate. We're all going to do it.
Dr. West, we were talking earlier on my show. We were talking earlier with Smokey about his long-standing friendship, his best friend, Barry Gordy. And we were talking about Barry's memoir, To Be Loved. You were commenting on that the other day, were you not?
Absolutely, yeah. I know you wrote that song for Jackie, but that's one of the most profound statements: our need for love and the need to be loved. And I think Smokey Robinson represents the highest level of what it means to be a love warrior, coming out of the great black tradition, in which we've taught the world so much about love in the face of so much hatred. And I just want to tell Smokey that, brother, you putting a smile on Uncle Clyde's face, who named you. You putting a smile on all the love that went into shaping and molding of you from mom, dad, all the way through. And you conveyed that to us. And I just want you to know that, because I know February 19th coming quick. We're gonna have another
yeah, baby.
another year, another year of thankfulness, of gratitude, of
Absolutely.
gratitude, brother.
You know, Tavis and I were talking about that earlier, man. How time is flying. You know, it's all these years overnight. You know,
Yeah.
and so I told him, you know, it's no sense in me not telling people. You say, "How are you gonna be?" I'm gonna be 85, and no sense in me lying about it because all they got to do is look up online and they can see, they know everything about. One night we were on the bus, man. We had done a concert. I
Yeah.
forgot where it was. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. We're on the bus and we're traveling to the next city, and my drummer comes up to me and he says, "Hey, man, you want to see your house?" Now I live in a gated community. He said, "I said, what you mean? Do I want to see my house?" He said, "I said, do you want to see your house?" I said, "Well, you got to why you got a picture of my house?" This dude showed me a picture online of my house with an aerial view of my house with my car in the driveway, so people can find out
Wow.
anything they
Yeah.
want to find out, man. So, but yeah, Cornel, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. You know, and I promise you this, man. Tavis and I were talking about this earlier too. I don't feel any older than 50 at the most, you know, and I try to take care of myself. You know, I've been doing yoga for 50 years, in fact, and it's one of the best things I think that you can do for yourself, especially men.
Who turned you on to yoga? Sidney Portier told me years ago that I should do yoga, and I should take it seriously at some point. But who turned you on to it?
Okay, now let me see. You know, you talk about the spiritual thing.
Yeah.
I think that God led me to do yoga, man, because I moved out to Los Angeles, and Claudette, who was my wife at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids were still living in Detroit because we were trying to sell our property there to move out to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
However, the Beatles, who were friends, had started seeing this guy Maharishi Yogi,
Mm-hmm.
and they had stopped doing all drugs and whatever they were doing, you know, and so. My wife thought I was smoking too much pot at the time. You know? So she said, "I want you to go and try this out." So I go to the Transcendental Meditation Center.
Hey, Doc, don't you just love Smokey's transparency? I love his
Yeah,
transparency.
which
Go
is
ahead,
not,
Smokey.
which is not
So
far
for
from
real.
here.
So
Yeah.
The
for real.
Transcendental Meditation Center. It's
Right.
on Lamurth. So I go over there, and I'm expecting, you know, like the Beatles guy was Maharishi Yogi. So I'm expecting somebody like that to show me this transcendental meditation thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I get over there, and there's a brother there. This dude's name is Stanley. so he's my guru. So he's teaching me this transcendental meditation thing. And the first day you go there, they give you 2 books. One is about eating meat, and one is about doing yoga. You know, so I started to read them, and I started to do the yoga then. And like I said, I had no intentions of doing that. I wouldn't even think about doing a yoga, so I was just led to do that. But however, it is one of the most beneficial things I've ever done in my life, for my life. There's a fluid that flows from the bottom of your spine to the base of your brain, okay? And it slows down, especially in men, as you get older. It slows down, and it makes you arthritic and all that and blah, blah, blah. But if you keep yourself stretched out, it flows longer and it flows smoother, and your blood vessels and so on and so forth. So I found all that out, man, but I didn't do it intentionally because I didn't even know about yoga.
Yeah.
But now I do, and I do it faithfully, and I work out all the time because I don't want to be old. I don't want to be decrepit. I don't want people to have to lead me around or, you know, carry me and give me a walk. I don't want to do all that. You know, I want to be as mobile and as independent and self-sufficient as I possibly can for my entire life.
Yeah. So it sounds like you recommend yoga to all the rest of us.
I do, man.
Yeah.
I do. I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
And like I said, especially to men.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I better start. I better start my yoga regimen. Nina, what do you want to say?
Smokey, Nina. You can call me Smokey. That's okay. Yes.
What would you say to them on how to even get the process started?
Well, yoga is very simple. You know, they have thousands of books on yoga, or they have classes everywhere on yoga. You know, and if you're really interested, you just pick up one of those books, or because like I started with the book. I started doing the stuff in the book. I've never really been to a class, but I just started with the book, and every year I would advance and so on and so forth. but they're everywhere. The classes and books are everywhere on it, and people look at it, although it is an Eastern philosophy kind of exercise and all that, people look at it as being that, just being, okay, well, this is, some Eastern stuff that they do over in the East, in the Middle East and so on. But no, it's good for everyone. It is good. It's a great, great thing for you to do for yourself and for your body, and to keep yourself, as fluid and as mobile as possible.
I'm watching this clock, Dr. West and Nina. We got about 3 minutes left here in this half hour, and Smokey and I are going to leave and let y'all continue your show as you normally would have. So please forgive me for bringing you William Smokey Robinson for these 30 minutes.
We thank you. We thank you.
Let me say this too. I love you guys, and Cornel, I like I said, I especially appreciate your blackness, man. Because I don't know if you know this, but I'm a real stickler about somebody calling me African American. I don't really appreciate that, because our people have died, built this country, did everything for it. And if I say Africa, I ain't never even been to Africa. Africa is one of the places on earth that I've never even been. And if I go there, I know that the people who live there are not going to accept me as one of them. I'm diluted to them, So I have nothing against Africa now, but I don't want them to disclaim my ownership of this country, because we have done everything in this country to build it, to make it happen, to be citizens, and so on and so forth. So I consider myself as a Black American, and don't tell me about African American, because like I said, I've never even been to Africa.
You got 2
and
minutes.
I appreciate you on your blackness, man.
2 minutes left, Doc. It's all yours, sir.
Well, I just want to say that Smoke is one of the rare black geniuses. And, of course, yes, we are of African descent, but we've been in the belly of the beast of the American empire and shaped and molded it in such a way
Absolutely.
that given all the ugliness coming our way, we can still talk about the tracks of our tears with a style and with a smile, and go down the street with tremendous confidence and dignity. Oh, yes, that's Smokey Robinson.
Cornel, I wrote a poem. It's called Being a Black American. And there's a passage in there that says, all the wonderful black Americans who served in the armed forces and gave their lives in all the wars, they didn't do that for Timbuktu or Cape Town or Kenya. They died for Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana and Texas and Virginia. Need I continue? And if you don't acknowledge that, if you don't claim that, then you're playing right into the hand of the white supremacists and the Ku Klux Klan, who claim that they own this land. So I want people to know that, man. We are,
He's a poet. He's a poet. One of the great songwriters of all time. Say nothing of his artistic genius as a performer on the stage. He is the one and only William Smokey Robinson Jr., who I was honored today to have on my program in the last hour. And because he was here, he stuck around for a little bit longer and was able to make contact with Nina Turner and Dr. Cornel West. And so Smokey and I've done 3.5 hours of a show today. I'm done talking. I am done talking for the rest of the day. And Smokey has sat here for 90 minutes, which I deeply appreciate. When we come forward, we will turn this program back over to Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner for them to wrap up the last half hour of Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580. I close where we began, Smokey Robinson. I now speak for Nina Turner, Cornel West, and all the rest of us, all your fans around the globe. We love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Well, I love you all back, and thank you so much, man. I appreciate being here.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, baby.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Southern California officials are warning of dangerous conditions as strong winds fuel wildfires near Los Angeles. A rare red flag warning is in effect with gusts over 70 miles per hour. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend President-elect Trump's inauguration Monday, though former President Obama will. Her office gave no explanation, and she also missed Jimmy Carter's funeral last week. Former Minneapolis officer J. Alexander King, convicted in George Floyd's 2020 death, will be released tomorrow from an Ohio prison. He served a 3.5-year state sentence for aiding manslaughter and a 3-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's rights. And the risk of dementia may be higher than thought, with a new study estimating it at 42% for men and women, up from earlier figures of 14% and 23%. Longer lifespans and higher risk for Black Americans are key factors, according to the study in Nature Medicine. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Count on Lowe's to lend a hand to prepare, recover, and rebuild during the wildfires. Lowe's is part of your neighborhood and want to make sure you have the supplies you need when you need them. Visit Lowe's in store or online to get emergency supplies now and learn about relief efforts in your area.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Very impressive performance by the Rams Monday night in the NFL playoffs. They dominated Minnesota with a 27-9 win in Glendale, Arizona. The Rams defense was lit. A playoff record 9 sacks, an interception, and a strip sack fumble that turned into a 57-yard touchdown for rookie defensive end Jared Verse. The Rams play at Philadelphia Sunday at noon. The Lakers, playing their first game in 6 days, lost at home to San Antonio 126-102. Before the game, the Lakers made an $8 million pledge to relief efforts in the battle against the wildfires in L.A. County. The Clippers beat Miami 109-98. Fans entering the Intuit Dome in Inglewood were given towels with the words L.A. Strong. Keep your radar up on this situation. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders confirmed that he had a conversation Monday with Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Jones is looking for a new coach. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in tough times, connecting you with resources and what you need to know. Evacuation shelters are located in the Pasadena Civic Center, the Dream Center in LA, the Westwood Recreation Center, and many more. You can call 311 for details. Santa Anita Park in Arcadia is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up anything from clothing to food and hygiene supplies. If you're in Los Angeles County and in need of food, call Omni Ministries at 310-631-1557. Donations can be made to Zelle, Omni Ministries, Inc. at yahoo.com. Parking Lot I outside of Rose Bowl Stadium is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up everything from clothing to food to hygiene supplies for free. To volunteer or donate to help victims of the fire, contact the LA Emergency Network at enla.org. The Cochran Firm and Ivy McNeil, Wyatt Purcell and Diggs, Jasmine Canick, and others have launched a GoFundMe specifically targeting Altadena. Visit LA Fires. The impacted Black community urgently needs help on GoFundMe, and donate to help Black evacuees fighting for survival. Airbnb is offering free temporary housing to people displaced by the fires. Call 211 to sign up. The LA Chamber of Commerce is stepping up to help you sort out insurance claims and other paperwork. Reach them at 213-580-7500. South LA Cafe has free groceries, clothing, and water available at 1700 Browning Boulevard in LA. Track their giveaways or volunteer through their Instagram at South LA Cafe. U-Haul is donating short-term storage free of charge for 30 days to evacuees. Shelter for small or large animals can be accessed by calling 211. A Black-led coalition of community organizations is offering support and resources in the Altadena area at the Flint Ridge Center at 236 West Mountain Street in Pasadena. For comprehensive lists of resources for housing, food, shelter, and more, visit Mutual Aid LA Network on Instagram. Praying for LA and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back. I'm back.
Dr. West.
My dear sister, what a moment. What a moment.
Such a treat. Oh, my God. I cannot believe we were on with the one and only William Smokey Robinson. Thanks to Brother Tavis Smiley for extending that interview into Truth Time. You talk about telling the truth. That was so awe-inspiring. And I was just saying, of all the times for technology to fail us a little bit, it happened on today, but the love was coming through the lines, though.
That's exactly right. The truth and the love can never be stopped.
Never be stopped. So, we should just continue, along the lines of the theme. Brother Tavis Smiley brought that theme back that we were talking about the other day in terms of love, and to have Brother Smokey Robinson on, and just his gifts and his career and all that he has done to lift us musically, and also the consciousness level that he holds, and that whole yoga and meditation, transcendental meditation kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, that was good.
That was very, very rich. But I also know that Reverend Dr. Kevin W. Cosby, pastor of St. Stephen's Church and president of historic Simmons College, is part of that same love train that Smokey's singing about, because the connection between our musicians, who have been the artistic and spiritual vanguards of our movement. Of course, they come right out of the Black church and come right out of deep Black religious sources and move in their own distinctive ways. But then, because justice is what love looks like in public, you got the freedom fighters like Brother Cosby and Brother Martin and Sister Fannie Lou. We can go on in this regard. And it means then that we've always got to make that connection between the spiritual and the social, the artistic on the one hand and the political on the other. Never reduce them, but without the love, the justice is still falls short. And without justice, the love falls short. They go hand in hand.
They do. They're married forever. It's for life. Power and love. You cannot. You're absolutely right. You can't separate. It's a shotgun wedding, and they can't get out of it. And I am on the historic Simmons College of Kentucky campus. And we just had a short conversation, before our show started with the one and only Dr. Cosby. I'm so happy to be here on this campus, and I'm feeling some things being here. Founded in 1879. Wow. And here they are, still holding strong, Doc. I mean, really. And Dr. Cosby is one of those. I mean, he is definitely one of those spiritual leaders that understand and loves Black people for the edification and uplift of Black people to the service of all humanity. And, Doc, you remember we were all together at the ADOS Foundation Conference.
That's exactly. Down in New Orleans, wasn't it?
New Orleans. We had a time.
Absolutely. Sister Yvette and company, we had a magnificent time. And also the ways in which that Brother Cosby, Reverend Dr. Cosby, moves at the highest levels, the Baptist convention, national Baptist conventions, then moves ecumenically. He's got connections with the AME and the AMEZ. Then he's got connection with the brothers and sisters on the block, the precious ones on the corner. You see, that's also what Smokey's concerned about, because Smokey comes from the chocolate side of Detroit. singing
Detroit.
for the chocolate
Yeah.
folk, first of Detroit, and then ended up singing for the world of all colors, Well, you see, that's precisely what it means to be rooted in our tradition, but embracing everybody, but never overlooking black people.
That's exactly right. And, Dr. Cosby is celebrating his 20-year anniversary here at Simmons tomorrow, as a matter of fact, on MLK Day. MLK's
I
birthday.
didn't know that. Lord
Yeah.
have mercy.
Yeah,
Lord
it's
have
beautiful
mercy. I know
thing.
he's been pastor. He's been pastor in St. Stephen's for probably almost 40 years, which means he started in kindergarten because he looks like he's about 42.
He does. I'm sure he loving hearing this. Black don't crack
No,
if you take care of it. You know what I'm saying?
Telling you, his wife is
popping,
taking
for
good
sure.
care of him. God is taking good care of him. His church is taking, the school is taking, and I've met the dean as well as the provost, and I know they taking good care too.
They taking good care of him. I got to shout out Sister Mills, who's his right hand here, and he just has an excellent team. And Dr. West, I love how you connected Brother Smokey Robinson and that work and that gift of deep black love. There's a saying that only God's love, is stronger than black love, and how that weaves through every other thing that we do. So whether we're an artist, whether we are the president or a pastor, president of Simmons or a pastor of a church, academics, plumbers, doctors, it doesn't matter. That love of people, love of self flows through, and it is that kind of strength and love that motivates the collective consciousness of black people in these United States. So this leads me to, I was kind of thinking about what Brother Robinson said in terms of don't call, he doesn't want to be called African American. He wants to be called black. And I love how you weaved in what he said with a larger kind of notion of where we originate from ancestrally as a black people. We came from somewhere, and every other ethnic group gets to claim where they came from. And because we were stolen from our land, it's hard for black Americans to make that linkage sometimes.
No, that's real. No, what he said, I have nothing against Africa or Africans. We're talking about 54 countries on the continent. He said, but when we talk about black, we're talking about the imprint that we have made in the United States. Now, that is an African imprint because we come from Africa, but it's true that Tracks of My Tears comes from Detroit and not Lagos. There's continuities between the geniuses in Lagos and the geniuses in Detroit, but the Tracks of My Tears has a distinctive flavor and vibe, which is a black vibe. And I think he was acknowledging that. I was just trying to say that it's on an African continuum, but the distinctive contributions that we have made have been in this context, and we've been able to do it in our own very, very unique way.
And I love how he linked, the poem of his that he wrote to sum that thing and wrap that thing up was really beautiful. But no, it's both and. We originate from a place. Right. Like everybody else in this country originated somewhere. And that place is the continent. And the reason why we lack continuity to the continent is because of our history in this country of chattel slavery that stripped away our name, our religion, tried to steal they stole the name religion, but also, culture that would take us back to the motherland. But there's imprints there. So it's both ends. It's not either or. Okay. You are listening. We will finish this on the other side. When we come forward, we're going to finish linking the love train, and that big surprise that Brother Tavis Smiley gave to Dr. West and myself here on Truth Time, KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
We gon' be alright.
KBLA Talk 1580 is amplifying Black voices and spotlighting our untold stories. I'm Dominique DePrima. Join me Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. as we broadcast live from the Altadena, Pasadena area. Due to the National Guard closing down this section, we will not be at Perry's Joint. Our new location is the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. We'll be covering the individuals and families impacted by the Altadena Eaton fire. Hear from community leaders and those who have suffered losses that must not be forgotten. So join us Thursday at the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. Together we can help them rebuild and recover. Together we are LA Strong, LA United. With your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
We are blessed today. Blessed. Thanking God Almighty for this opportunity that Brother Tavis Smiley to talk to Brother Tavis Smiley and the one and only William Smokey Robinson. I mean, did not in my wildest dreams think that this was going to happen for us on a Tuesday, Dr. West. It came in like a storm.
That is so true. That's
beautiful.
You got to be open to what the Lord has in store for you.
That's it. You know, and listening to Brother Robinson talk about the whole African-American black, you know, he said, I want to be called Black American. And I get what he's saying, because you can't allow, you know, the white supremacist type to try to snatch, you know, take the country from us in that way. And we built this country, no doubt about it. That it made me think about when I was in college. I wrote an op-ed in the student newspaper about the whole notion of being called African American versus, not that it was in competition, but versus being called Black. And I came down on the side of African American mainly because of the root part of it. You know, that it's like what James. Not James Baldwin, but Dr. W.B. Du Bois said about, you know, one soul two souls and one warring body. Not quite pretending, not quite American, but that whole kind of ancestral connection is why I came down on African American. I remember my dean, the dean of students, calling me in saying it's power in being called black. And he felt that being called African American diluted the whole essence of black Americanness. What are your thoughts on that, Doc?
Yeah, that's fascinating. You know, we blessed to have Jesse Jackson Jr. come on right after us. And when I read in the New York Times that his father came up really popularizing that title, I read in the New York Times. I said, you mean to tell me Jesse Jackson Sr. went to bed and woke up and renamed all these Negroes something else, renamed all these black folks something else? I was very suspicious of it because it makes us look like we just another ethnic group. You see, Italian American, African American, Polish American. We're not another ethnic group in the history of this country. We are a racial group. And when you talk about Negroes or blacks, you're talking about a specificity and a distinctiveness that's not on a continuum with other ethnic groups. That white supremacy and race have a different gravitas than ethnicity. And therefore, culturally, spiritually, and politically, I was always with Stokely. I was with the Black Panther Party. I was with Maulana Karenga. I was with the black crowd. And of course, I remain with the black crowd. But in the end, of course, you know, as a Christian, we are humans. But that was my response. I never really went African American. I never did. But I am an African man who is black in the United States.
Well, there it is. When we come forward, Dr. Cornel West and I will continue this fascinating conversation that was stoked by the one and only William Stokely, or William Smokey Robinson. Look, you said Stokey Carmichael. Dr. West, you got me channeling Stokey Carmichael. But when we come forward, we will continue this fascinating conversation. You are listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk, baby, 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back. I'm back.
If you are just joining us, please make sure you go back and listen to this entire show. You have missed a treat. Brother Tavis Smiley flowed on into Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and myself with the one and only William Smokey Robinson. It was smoking in here, Doc, all the way live. So make sure you download the KBLA app or listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. Doctors, I've been truly, truly blessed today. And you know, this is some food for thought. You had mentioned, you know, in our remaining 3 minutes or so, that when Reverend Jesse Jackson went to sleep and woke up and coined that phrase, that was one of the reasons why I embraced it, because for me, it was a name that we, you know, even if it wasn't the collective we, but that we started to call ourselves versus the names that they gave us. You know, the N-word, the degradation and dehumanization surrounding that word, and then we're colored, you know, just all the names that were put on us versus a name or a title or a iteration, like a try to collect who we are as a people that we decided to call ourselves.
No, it's true. I mean, can you imagine calling Isaac Hayes the African-American Moses rather than Black Moses? That Black has a certain over-againstness to it, a certain kind of self-determination in content and a profound self-respect in character that I've always resonated with in a very deep way. And I think that's also what Brother Smokey was talking about, too, you see, because Detroit is the Black cultural capital of the country. I'm looking at Harlem right now, and I love Harlem. But Harlem ain't produced no Smokey Robinson and Diana Ross and the Dramatics and a whole wave of folk. Now, we got Sonny Rollins and Luther, but, I mean, all of the Black centers, L.A. got the Whispers. I mean, every Black center has the geniuses and giants, but there's something about being a Black man and a Black woman and a Black sibling and a Black child in the United States that has an over-againstness that I've always identified with.
Over and against it. I would quite frankly see them as interchangeable, even though I feel, to me, it's not an either or. We can rock in both worlds kind of thing. And there is something about Black. It's shorter, first of all, and it encapsulates a lot.